Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's enjoying springtime. And today is actually Mother's Day. And what better way to celebrate Mother's Day in springtime than to make a gorgeous beaded necklace with earrings to match. That's right, I'm going to make a pair of earrings. I don't normally do that, but today I thought I would throw them in as a bonus. But anyway, guys, I've really been enjoying springtime. I'm one of the lucky ones who's not affected by pollen very much. So I'm able to go out and enjoy nature, enjoy the flowers, the trees. And I've actually been a little bit busy because I've been away on travel. I went to Washington State to visit my family up there and I had a wonderful time. I love the beautiful evergreens up there in Washington State. And I love the beautiful bays and the islands and everything up there. It's so gorgeous. I got to ride on a ferry a couple of times, which is always very exciting for me because I love cruising. I love being on the water. But anyway, guys, today we're going to make that gorgeous necklace that you saw in the introduction. And we're going to be using the beads from the Curated Bead box for the month of May. The name of the box was Jacaranda Lane. And if you're not familiar with that box, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out. I'm also going to leave a list of all the materials down in the description section of the video in case you don't have the beads. I left all the sizes, the colors, and everything that I used to make the necklace. And if you do a Google search, perhaps you'll be able to find the materials if you don't have them. Also, I want to remind you that I always leave timestamps down below in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. Normally when I do my tutorials, I do bead selection, and I know some of you don't necessarily want to see that. So anyway, the timestamps are down there if you want to skip forward. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please think about doing so because it really does help my channel and it helps me as a content creator to stay motivated to create more videos for you. So anyway, guys, I don't want to delay this video any further, so let's go ahead and jump right into the tutorial. Here's the Curated Bead box for the month of May. As you can see, the name of the box is Jacaranda Lane. Let's go ahead and choose the beads that we're going to be using today. We're going to be using this strand of plum colored Crackle glass beads. I love this color. I think it's adorable. And I think we're going to use it to create the charms of the necklace as well as the strands. But you can use any beads for the strands, guys, okay? I'm just using this one because I like the color. We're going to use this strand of, I believe this is the Lilac marble style glass bead. As you can see, the base color is off-white and it has a paint effect on top and it's a lilac colored paint effect. We'll be using this strand as well. This one's very similar as far as the paint effect, but it's a lighter color, obviously. And the paint effect actually has two colors. It has pink and yellow, as you can see, but it's very pale. Now, to add some variety to the necklace, we will be using a few of these 8mm size beads. These will go primarily along the bottom portion of the necklace. And we're not going to be using too many. I don't know how many just yet, but we'll figure it out later on. And as you can see, there are two colors in these beads. The name of the strand is the Turquoise Lilac Marble Style Glass Bead Strand. And like I said before, these are 8mm in size. We're going to be using a little bit of this chain to create an extender. And we're only going to use a small piece that's about 2 inches long at the max. But that's going to be completely up to you how long you want your extender chain to be. Now from the Finding Starter Kit, we'll use a couple of items. We're going to use one of these lobster claw clasps. And we're also going to use a bunch of these jump rings. And that's all from this box. I'm going to be using some 20 gauge wire, and this is in a silver tone, as you can see, and it's tarnish resistant. And you can use any brand. This is by Parawire, but any brand that's tarnish resistant will do. I'm also going to be using some head pins, and these are ball head pins, as you can see. They're 2 inches long. And we're going to use these on the charms. We're actually going to do some wire wrapping on the charms. So these head pins are pretty long. They're 2 inches long, which allows us to do some wire wrapping very easily. So these are the beads we're going to be using. As you can see, it's a beautiful spring palette. So let me go ahead and remove some from the strands and I'll be right back. So here are the beads we're going to be using. Now, I don't know exactly how many just yet. I just went ahead and pulled a bunch from each strand. We'll figure that out as we go along. Now these blue ones are going to go on last. They're going to go along the bottom portion of the necklace. So we're not going to work with those just yet. We're going to work with these smaller ones. These are the 6mm size beads. I have my head pins ready to go. And I did make a few sketches and notes and played with the design a little bit earlier in the week. And I came up with the idea of creating 11 beaded clusters. And the 11 clusters are going to go in between each of these blue beads along the bottom of the necklace. Each cluster will have 6 charms, so that means I have to create 2 of each color for each cluster. And since we have 11 clusters, that means I have to create 66 charms. So let's go ahead and create some charms. You're going to need your head pins, and you're simply going to load one onto a head pin like this. And you do want to make sure that the head portion of your pin doesn't slide through the hole. Okay, so it all depends on what kind of head pin you're using. Mine seems to be okay. So now we're going to go ahead and do a wrap loop. I'm using my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this. kink it like this. I'm going to move my pliers to this portion of the wire now. And you need to decide where you want to be on your pliers because that determines how big the loop is. Because obviously you want to make sure that the loops on your charms are all the same size. Mine are going to be a little bit on the small side, but keep in mind that my pliers are very small. These are by Lindstrom and they have very skinny barrels, okay? So your pliers may be different, so you may need to position your pin somewhere else along the barrel of your pliers. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap the pin around the top nose like this. Flip your pliers around like this and continue to wrap towards the back. Like this. Remove your pliers. I'm going to use these skinny pliers to grab the loop. I like these because they grab very well. And now I'm going to use another needle nose plier to do my wraps. And I'm not going to do too many wraps, guys, because I don't like a lot of wraps, to be quite honest, okay? But it's up to you how many wraps you want to do. I'm only going to do 2. And now I'm going to cut off the excess. And if you see a little burr sticking out, you want to try to tuck it in. So this is the first charm, and like I said before, I'm going to create 66 of them. I'm going to make 2 of each color for each cluster, and we have 11 clusters, or to make it easier, 22 of each color. So instead of making you sit through the whole thing, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the camera and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I have built all the charms. I did save one though because I wanted to do one more with you, okay, in case you didn't catch the first one. So again, you want to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, kink it like this, switch to this portion of the wire like this, wrap the wire around your pliers like this, flip your pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. Now I want to show you one little trick before I wrap it. If you want that loop to be closer to the bead, you can actually turn your pliers a little bit like this, and that gets it closer to the bead so you don't have so much of a neck right there, okay? So this is what you should have. And now we're going to do some wraps. I like to grab the loop with a set of skinny pliers like this. And with another set, I'm going to do some wraps. Now, another little trick that I want to show you, if your pins are really thin and you're not planning on saving this piece, you can just grab it like this and just wrap it like this, okay? I'm usually a little bit more conservative and I do a very careful wrap so I don't kink my wire because I usually save my scraps. But in this case, I'm not going to save this piece, so I don't mind doing it like that. It's a lot quicker. And now we're going to cut off the excess. When you cut off the excess, you want to use the flush side of your cutters up against the piece that you're going to be keeping, like this. And you definitely want to tuck in whatever little end is sticking out. So this is my 22nd charm. I have 22 of each color. And here are my jump rings. Let's go ahead and open one up. We're going to thread on 6 charms, like I said before, 2 of each color, and you want to do it randomly. You don't want 2 colors together, obviously. But if you do happen to thread 2 colors on adjacent to each other, don't worry about it too much, okay? Because once everything's assembled, you won't even notice it. So here are my 6 charms, as you can see. And now let me go ahead and close this jump ring really well. And these are excellent jump rings. They're very thick. So that means that they're very strong. So that looks pretty good. So here's my first beaded cluster, as you can see, and I'm going to create 10 more just like this. Obviously, you can create as many as you want depending on how big you want your necklace, but for what I want today, I'm going to do 11 of these. And in order to shorten this video a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the film, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I have built my 11 beaded clusters, and I'm looking at it right now and thinking, I don't know if I need that many, but I'm going to go ahead and start assembling things, and then I'll decide whether I need to cut back or not. I may end up just needing 10 or maybe even 9. I'm not sure just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start building some components with these blue beads, and then I'll connect everything and we'll figure it out. For the blue beads, I will need the 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut myself 1.5 inch pieces because I'm going to be doing simple loops. And you may be asking yourself why I'm not using 18 gauge. The reason is, guys, that I don't like that look, to be quite honest. I think it's too thick and it makes the piece look chunkier, if that's a good word for it. I like my pieces to be more on the delicate side, and so I prefer using 20 gauge wire. But if you want to use 18 gauge, by all means, use 18 gauge. Alright, so here's my wire, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Using some flat nose pliers, I'm simply going to kink the end at about maybe 3/8 of an inch down, like this. And then with my round nose pliers, I'm going to go ahead and do a simple loop. You want to make sure your loop is closed and it's straight, just like that. And now let's thread on a bead, like this. Grab the pin at the top of the bead, line up the bottom loop so it's facing forward, okay? And now kink it. Snip off the excess, leaving yourself 3/8 of an inch. And now we're going to form a loop at this end. And you do want to make sure that the loops are lined up, just like that. And here's your first beaded component. I'm going to create a few more and speed up the film, and I'll come right back to you. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I created a few of these blue beaded components. I do have one more that I want to do with you because I want to go over it again with you. One thing that I didn't mention is that you might want to snip off the end of your wire so that it's nice and flush at this end, okay? And again, you want to kink it at about 3/8 of an inch down, like this. Grab the wire with your round nose pliers, and you want to make sure that it's flush, and then go ahead and loop it until the loop closes, just like this. Thread on your bead, bring it down. Grab the wire at the top of the bead, line up the bottom loop, kink it, and again you want to use the flush side of your cutters, like this, at 3/8 of an inch. Now you're going to grab the wire, making sure that it's flush, and then create your loop at this end. And once again, you want to line up your loops. Let me remove this piece. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble everything, and we're going to decide whether or not I need to remove one of these beaded clusters. So to assemble it is very simple. We're going to take one of these and open up the loop, just like this. Take the first beaded component, or the first beaded cluster, and attach it to the jump ring. And you can attach it anywhere to the jump ring this first time around, and then close it really, really well. I'm going to switch to these pliers because these have a very small tip, as you can see. They're flat nose pliers, but they're stepped pliers, as you can see, and they allow me to get in really close. Because you want to make sure that the loop is closed. So let me give you a close-up of what we have so far. So now we have to attach the other blue bead to the other end of that jump ring, and you want to have 3 charms on one side of the jump ring and 3 on the other. Let me go ahead and take one of these beaded components and open it up first. And now I have to make sure that I connect it so that there are 3 charms on one side and 3 charms on the other side of that jump ring. Just like that, okay? Let me close up the loop and then I'll show you. So this is what you want, guys, okay? I hope you can see that. You have a blue bead on one side of the jump ring, a blue bead on the other side of the jump ring, and then 3 charms on the bottom and 3 charms on the top. So now let's go ahead and connect the next beaded cluster. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this loop, take my next beaded cluster, and I'm not too concerned about where I connected at this point. Let me close up the loop. And now when I connect the next blue bead, I do need to make sure that I connect it correctly. So let's go ahead and open up the loop. And let's take a look at this cluster. Make sure that I connect it in the right spot, just like that. Let me close it up. So this is what we have so far. I hope you can see that. I've arranged it on my finger so you can take a good look. It's not really that complicated, guys, all right? You just want to make sure that you have 3 charms on one side of the jump ring and 3 charms on the other side. And that's pretty much it. So let me go ahead and connect a few more just like this. And like I said before, I'm not sure if I'm going to do 11 beaded clusters or 10, but I'm going to go ahead and connect a few and then I'll come right back to you. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I've connected everything, and as you can see, I removed 2 beaded clusters because I thought the piece was a little bit too long for me. So this piece actually measures 7 inches. And like I said before, if you want something longer than that, obviously you're going to add more beaded clusters. Now these are going to make great earrings. So all I have to do is separate them like this. And as you can see, they make adorable earrings. But I think what I'm going to do is add some more of these charms to the earrings. And I made some ahead of time, as you can see. I have 2 of each color, so that means I'm going to add 3 charms to each of these earrings. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and open up this jump ring. And we'll connect 3 charms to this one. It's a little challenging because the jump ring is pretty full, but I think I can do it. And let me close it right back up again. So here's the earring, and isn't it cute? I love it. And now let's go ahead and connect the ones to this earring. So there's my other earring. And from the Finding Starter kit, guys, you're going to need 2 ear wire hooks. And I kind of decided this at the last minute, otherwise I would have mentioned it at the beginning of the video. And this is very easy to do. We're simply going to open up this loop, connect the ear wire hook, close it up. And now let's open up this one. So here are my two adorable earrings, and I think they're so cute. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up the necklace now. I think what I'm going to do is finish the strands with the plum beads because they're smaller in size. And for that, you'll need your 20 gauge wire again. And since the beads are so small, you're only going to need about 1.5 inch pieces. Let me just go ahead and do one with you, but it's the same technique that you used to create the blue ones. You grab the wire about 3/8 of an inch down, kink it, and now with your round nose pliers, you're going to grab it and make sure it's flush and create a loop. Just like that. And now thread on a bead, like this. Grab the wire at the top of the bead, line up the bottom loop, kink it. Using the flush side of your cutters, snip off the excess, leaving 3/8 of an inch. Grab the wire again with your round nose pliers and create another loop at this end. Just like that. And you do want to make sure that your loops are lined up. I've already created some ahead of time, as you can see. And to connect it is very easy. You're going to simply open up this loop here, hook on one of the plum beads, close it up, open up this loop, connect the next one, close it up, as you can see, I've connected this side, and I have another strand for the other side that I created earlier. So here's the necklace so far, and all we need to do is attach the clasp. You'll need 2 jump rings and a lobster claw clasp. Let's go ahead and open up one of these jump rings. Connect it to the necklace like this. Connect the lobster claw clasp like this. Now we are going to do an extended chain, so let me go ahead and get the chain before we connect this jump ring. Like I said before, you're going to need a piece that's about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches long. It's up to you how long you want your extended chain to be. And these links are actually cut, so you can just simply open them instead of using your cutters. At the end of this chain, I'm going to connect a charm, just like one of these. And I think I'm going to use this color right here. So I have my head pin, and I'm going to create a charm just like I did for the necklace. Now before I do the wraps, I'm going to connect it to the chain. Just like that. Now I'm going to grab the loop with my skinny pliers, and let me do a few wraps. Cut off the excess. Tuck in the little end. So here's my extended chain. And now let's go ahead and open up this jump ring. connect the extended chain like this, and then connect it to the necklace like this. Close up the jump ring. It's nice to have an extended chain if you're giving it to somebody, because that way they can adjust it accordingly if it's not the right length. So here's a pretty spring necklace and earring set, complete with the extended chain and everything, and I think it's absolutely adorable. It measures about 16 inches, and that's how I like it, but obviously you can make it any length you want, and you can even use different beads here. If you wanted to use the light colored beads, that would be okay, or even if you wanted to use the blue ones, that would be okay as well. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and put it on and show you what it looks like. Well, what do you think of this necklace? Isn't it gorgeous? It's so spring-like. I love the colors. They're so pretty. Now I don't have the earrings on because I'm probably going to list this necklace, and I always throw a pair of earrings in with all of my necklaces that I sell on Etsy. It's kind of like a little gift, and I think my customers really like that. But let me just hold them up to my ear so you can get an idea of what they look like. Isn't that cute? I love these. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day. Have a happy Mother's Day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.